Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. So reading through the Tanak night. The topic inside the room is we exposing the God of the Israelites with different verses. Okay. Go to our YouTube channel, the Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at, examine, and get the understanding out of it, get the meat out, and videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Right? And our hours of operation is Tuesday and Wednesday, 7 to 9 Central Time, and Friday Friday nights we have our men's advanced Bible study from 7 to 9. Then we have 2 Shabbat classes on Saturday, 1 in the morning, 10 to 12. Then we have a evening Shabbat class to close it out, and that's from 6 to 7. And then we also have advanced Bible study on Sundays and the evenings at 5 Central Time. So any of those times you can check us out. And we have our women's advanced Bible study on our sister channel. That's every Thursday night, 7 to 9. So if you want to check that out, you can do so. So while I'm right here, I wanted to let everybody know tomorrow after the women's advanced Bible study, we're gonna have a Zoom class, a Zoom meeting about what's going on in Africa and with Wesley. Okay, so you want to check that out. We're gonna send the link out, but it'll be tomorrow after the women's Bible study. Okay. For those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanak and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament and the so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah being the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Redeemer, Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our advanced Bible study. Somebody got their line.
Well, don't do it until you figure out what it is that you're supposed to be doing and then do it.
I know.
Somebody got the line open.
One of them.
Yeah. Yes.
You gotta mute your line.
I'm not bothering on the line right now because I feel like I'm supposed to do something for someone and it's important. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you gotta mute your line.
Is there
What?
a place that I can go to this?
Yeah, mute your line.
I mean,
She let me go into her office the last time and I just sat there.
I don't have a heater.
No,
Okay.
you gotta mute your line.
But there's like 8 people here.
No, I'm going over there. Just
Okay.
You gotta mute your line.
there's too many people.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Shalom and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our reading through the Tanakh night. We're gonna do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, psalms, current events. Then we have some need to know information. Then we open it up for some questions and comments and dialogue. Then we go into our topic, which is exposing the God of the New Testament. Okay, I mean, exposing the God of the Israelites, showing who He really is. Okay, contrary to what the New Testament is saying. Okay, so with that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts. All that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay, O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belong unto Thee. Therefore, we come before Thee at this hour, seeking our face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before Thee, as our servants David and Solomon and Samuel and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before Thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between good and bad. For we desire to walk after Thee, O Lord, and to keep Your commandments, Your testimony, Your statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by Your prophets. O Lord, allow Thy face to shine upon Thy people. Hear our plea. Hear, O Lord, and do. hide not thy face from us any longer, for we need you so very much at this hour. Okay, peace be unto you. So I'll read the Psalms. Okay, I'll read the Psalms, and then we'll go into some current events. Okay. I think I'm on 22. I think I'm on. It says, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from helping me? And from my words of my ruin. Oh my God, I cried in the daytime, but thou hearest not. And in the night season, and I am not silent, but thou art holy. O thou that inhabited the praises of Israel. Our fathers trusted in thee. They trusted in thou, and thou didst deliver them. They cried unto thee and were delivered. They trusted in thee and were not confounded. But I am the worm and no man, a reproach of men, and despised of the people. All they that see me laugh me scorn. They shoot out of the lips and shake their head, saying, he trusted on the Lord that he would deliver him, and let him deliver him, seeing he delight in him. But thou art he that took me out of the womb. Thou didst make me hope when I was upon my mother's breast. Okay. I was cast upon thee from the womb. Thou art my God from my mother's belly. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, for there is none to help. Many bulls have compassed me. Strong bulls of Bashan have beset me around. They gape upon me with their mouths. As the raven and the roaring lion, I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax. It is melted in the midst of my bowels. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaveth to my jaws. And thou hast brought me into the dust of the death. For dogs have compassed me. The assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. I may tell all my bones. They look and stare upon me. They port my garments among them and cast lots upon my vesture. But be not thou far from me, O Lord, O my strength. Has thee, haste thee to help me, deliver my soul from sword, my darling from the power of the dog. Save me from the lion's mouth, for thou hast heard me from the horn of the unicorn. I will declare thy name unto my brethren in the midst of the congregation. Will I praise thee? Yea, ye that fear the Lord, praise him. All ye that the seed of Jacob, glorify him and fear him, all ye seed of Israel, for he hath not despised nor abhorred the afflictions of the afflicted, neither have he hid his face from him, but when he cried unto him, he heard. My praise shall be of thee in the great congregation, and I will pay my vows before them that fear him. The meek shall eat and be satisfied, and they shall praise the Lord that seek him. Your heart shall live forever. All the ends of the world shall remember and turn unto the Lord, and all the kindreds of the nations shall worship before thee. For the kingdom is the Lord's, and he is the governor among the nations. All they that be fat upon the earth shall eat and worship. All they that go down to the dust shall bow before him, and none can keep alive his own soul. A seed shall serve him, it shall be accounted to the Lord for a generation, and they shall come and shall declare righteousness unto a people that shall be born, that he have done this. So that was Psalm 22. And like I said before, we know about the plagiarism, and we can see that is prevalent right here in this psalm. When it start out, it says, my God, why have thou forsaken me, and why art thou so far from helping me, and from my words of my ruin? So we know that this is David, Psalm of David, but they took this and they put it over in the JC when he was on the cross. This is what he said right here. But you see, it's David. Okay, and we also see over here where it says pierced. So it says, verse 16, for dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me, they pierced my hands and my feet. So that's, like I said, the verses and the stories in the Old Testament is how they concocted JC. So they took this right here and put it on JC. They took this from out of Psalm 22, put it on JC, that his hands and his feet was pierced. And he said this is a prophecy. David prophesying about JC. But we know that's not the truth. So it goes, if you go up, it says, let me see something else I read. It says, 24. That's like I was telling you about Isaiah 53, that Israel is the suffering servant, right? Israel, the one that was afflicted, right? 24, for David talking, for he have not despised nor abhorred the afflictions of the afflicted, that's Israel. Neither have he hid his face from him. Yeah. See him? But when he cried unto him, he heard. So when Israel cried unto him, he heard. And then another one I wanted to look at was 25. My praises shall be unto thee in the great congregation. So that's the high holy days. He's talking, David talking about he in the temple when the Lord is there. And I didn't get a chance to deal with that yesterday when we read that part where it said, he said, come into thy rest. I think it was a song we read yesterday when it says, Lord, come into thy rest. So when it says, what it's talking about is the Shabbat. Every day, every 6 days you work, 7 days you rest. So that's what he's talking about when he says, come into your rest, the Shabbat. Okay? So anyway, I said another one. Yeah, 21. David said, save me from the lion's mouth, for thou hast heard me from the horns of the unicorn, right? So what are you talking about? Okay, if you go to 2 Samuel, I think it is, no, 1 Kings. Go to 1 Kings. This is when Solomon was passing judgment on everybody that had afflicted David. So Solomon had to clean David's house up before he came on the throne. So let's look at it. It says, first of all, you go to chapter 2. It says David charged Solomon. I'll read this right quick. Now the days of David drew nigh that he should die, right? And he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man, and keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes, his commandments, and his judgments, and his testimony, as it is written in the laws of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whatsoever thou turnest thyself, that the Lord may continue his word which he spake concerning me. See that? So everything Solomon doing, these other boys doing, is pertaining to David. That the Lord may continue his word which he spake concerning me, saying, if thy children take heed to their way to walk before me in truth with all their hearts and with all their souls, there shall not fail thee, said he, a man on the throne of Israel. Moreover, thou knowest also, so here you go, These are all the people that afflicted David. And so David is letting Solomon know that he got to deal with this if he wanted to prosper on the throne. Verse 5, moreover, thou knowest also what Joab, the son of Zerah, did to me, and what he did to the two captains of the host of Israel, unto Abner and unto son of Ner, and unto Amasa, Abishai, Amasa, the son of Jether, whom he slew, and shed the blood of war in peace, and put the blood of war upon his girdle that was about his loins, and in his shoes that were on his feet. Do thou therefore according to thy wisdom, and let not his hoar head go down to the grave in peace, but show kindness unto the sons of Barzillai, the Gileonite, and let them be of those that eat at thy table. For so they came to me when I fled because of Absalom. So this guy right here, if you go back to the story, Absalom, Barzillai, he's the one that received David across the river Jordan to keep Absalom from killing him. So anyway, he goes and he tells him all these people that he had to deal with, right? So as soon as David died, Solomon called all these people in there. Some of them he had them killed. So verse 13, and Abijah, the son of Hagar, came to Bathsheba, mother of Solomon, okay? He the one who tried to usurp Solomon's throne. So Solomon had him killed, right? So 25, King Solomon sent by the hands of Benaiah, son of Jibnah, and he fell upon him that he died. So all these people is who David had told Solomon to deal with, right? But my point is this: I'm trying to get to the unicorn thing. So when he sent Benaiah, the Lord of hosts, to kill Joab for what he had did, and he killed the two. He killed let me see up here, Abner and Amasa. He had killed them, and then he just wiped the blood off on his garment, and like he said, the blood went in his shoes and all that he didn't care. So David said that he had to clean that up. So let me see if I can find it. 28. I'm in 1 Kings 2 and 28. Then tidings came to Joab, but Joab had turned all of Abishai, had turned after Abishai, though he turned not after Absalom. And Joab fled into the tabernacle. So this guy after him to kill him, right? Joab fled into the tabernacle of the Lord and caught hold of the horns. That's what the horns he's talking about. See that? That's at the altar. The four horns at the altar. He caught hold of the horns of the altar. And it was told King Solomon that Joab fled into the tabernacle of the Lord. And because he is by the altar, so he thought that they weren't gonna kill him in there, right? In there where the altar was at. But it says that then Solomon sent Benaiah, it's the Lord of hosts, the son of Jubal, saying, go, fall upon him. And Benaiah came to the tabernacle of the Lord and said unto him, thus said the king, come forth. And he said, nay, but I will die here. And Benaiah brought the king word again, saying, thus said Joab. And thus he answered. And the king said unto him, do as thou hast said, fall upon him and bury him, that thou mayest take away, see that, take away the innocent blood. That's from out of David's house, which Joab shed from me and from the house of my father David. Okay, but notice this right here. This is an example of, it's just a golden nugget, but notice that Benaiah is the Lord of hosts, Solomon the king, right? So it says in 30, Benaiah came to the tabernacle of the Lord, right? He's doing Solomon's work. Solomon is his Lord. And he said unto him, thus said the king, come forth. And he said, nay, but I will die here. And Benaiah brought the king. See that? So go to the, I don't know if somebody had that book. I know I talked about it before, but the Apocalypse of Abraham. When Abraham was getting ready to die, to pass from his life, the Lord, Yahweh sent Michael down he told him to go down to, the Ursha is sold up after he passed. The Ursha is sold up. So Michael went down to bring it up, and Abraham told Michael, I ain't ready to go. So being that he know Abraham's position with Yahweh, so Michael left from talking to Abraham, went back up to the Father, to Yahweh, right inside of right. Yahweh told him what Abraham said. So if you read that story, he back and forth from coming down. He's seeing to talk to Abraham. He go back up to talk to Yahweh because Abraham wasn't ready. So we see the same thing right here. Let me read it again. Benaiah came to the tabernacle of the Lord, said unto him, thus said the king, thus said Solomon, his Lord, come forth. And he said, nay, but I will die here. And Benaiah brought the king word again. So not Benaiah going back and forth for where Joab at, back to his Lord. Right? So like I said, ain't nothing new under the sun, and then it's an order that's in place. So he says, he brought the king word again, saying, thus said Joab, and thus he answered me. So he going back and forth. And then 31, and the king said unto him, do as thou hast said, and fall upon him and bury him, that thou mayest take away the innocent blood which Joab shed from me and from the house of my father, from his David. So yeah, so the horns of the unicorn, like I said, they got phrases, Hebrew idioms inside of Israel. You have to understand what those mean to really get the understanding of what's going on in a certain story. Okay, so that's not just something you say. It's got a whole lot of meaning to it. Any comments, questions? Okay, everybody good on that? Okay, we're gonna deal with these current events and we'll talk about them as we go. This one right here hit home.
It's now been confirmed that at least 10 people have lost their life because of a New Year's attack on Bourbon Street. The FBI and the New Orleans mayor are both calling this an act of terrorism. Now, experts are saying that this could have been far worse because this person that drove onto Bourbon Street took the lives of at least 10 people and injuring 30 or plus more. Actually was looking to do more damage. I'll explain more on this in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. In 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So right now, let's look at the facts. New Orleans mayor declares terrorist attack on Bourbon Street. The FBI confirms through their investigation. Says at least 10 people are dead and dozens injured in New Orleans after a driver plowed a car into a crowd of New Year's revelers on Bourbon Street. Here's what we know. This has turned into something even bigger. And the FBI is actually looking into this. Is this a lone wolf attack, or did this person have some type of an accomplice? Well, let's watch some of the videos and you'll see exactly what they're saying. Look at this right here.
Local police are calling it an act of terror after a man drove a pickup truck through a crowd on Bourbon Street, killing 10 people and injuring dozens. They say the driver then came out of the truck and opened fire on officers, injuring 2 before being shot and killed.
Right there. The driver got out of the truck with a rifle before the officers, who didn't even have time to respond in vehicle, they were chasing the truck on foot. According to eyewitnesses, they are somewhat upset, okay, probably irate, because this is one of the largest gatherings on New Year's Eve in New Orleans. I believe they're also getting ready for, I believe it's the Sugar Bowl, I believe, okay? So a very large football game, they're getting ready for it. Well, guess what? That means more people are there. Here's what the New Orleans city or police had put in place. They put in place little barricades, not metal, not concrete. They didn't put vehicles in the way to stop cars from coming in. They put up little road construction signs to pretty much deter people. Do not drive down this street. Experts say that's not enough. That this has been one of the concerns people have had for years is Bourbon Street, okay? It's an active street. We need to be able to block it off, okay? Actually block it off. Even the same thing in Times Square, okay? Yes, they have a little more police presence, right? It's the biggest one of the year, the biggest, gathering in the United States, but we need to protect the American people. Now, I want to play you another clip. Listen to this one as well.
That a long gun was recovered from the scene of the crash, an indication here that the suspect was perhaps using a firearm with a long barrel. And we should say that both FBI and local law enforcement are now working together to search that vehicle for additional weapons. Of course, earlier today, we learned that investigators found what appeared to be improvised explosive devices at the scene of the crash.
Right there. Investigators found improvised explosive devices. Now, that was at the scene of the crash. According to these initial reports, there is a good chance that this person that drove through the crowd of people, of partiers, right, just there to ring in the new year, taking the lives of 10 people, that this person had a plan, okay? The rifle was likely the final plan, but
So they found out who it was. It was an Arab dude. Say he's from one of those jihadist groups over there in the Middle East. Yeah.
Because the car drove through all these people, right? And according to some reports, there was a woman that was or a person laid down on her chest, I believe, and tire marks on her back. And then when they flipped her over to see if she was okay, there was tire marks on her front. Okay, that the person ran over her twice. Now,
Did you know that?
Anybody got any comments? Anybody heard about that? Anybody heard anything about that today?
I heard a little bit about today. By somebody here mentioned it. I hadn't heard about it before that. But what do you expect? Those are pagan holidays. Days of lawlessness. People are going to act lawless, right?
Right.
So,
Yes, shalom, sir. Yes, and they said it was like, I thought 30-something, 40-something people who had gotten injured, and they were trying to marry this situation with that Tesla truck in California, I thought it was.
Yes, Las
Las Vegas.
Vegas.
Las Vegas, okay.
Okay. Yeah, we got a little more of that information.
Shalom. I just wanted to say, I think they said like he had rented a truck from somewhere in Texas where he resided. I forgot which city he was in Texas, but he had the truck that he was driving, he had rented that truck. So they're just like they said, looking into all the explosives that he had in the truck. And Bourbon Street can be very, very busy at any time of the year. But of course, there's the Sugar Bowl, like he said, that's going on. So there's extra people there on top the new year.
Okay. So here was some additional information right here.
Tell you, and to the point about the sheets, I think the sheets were also put up to shield the hotel guests' eyes from the carnage on the street. So you're right with those 2 points. But now we're hearing this video of 3 men and 1 woman placing items, and it seems as though they are connected to the suspect. Tracy, what do you say to that?
Well, this is very, very similar to the Boston Marathon bombing that was just brought up in the Tsarnaev brothers, where you had 2 of them, right, placing those IEDs. This is not at all surprising, because I do think it would have taken multiple individuals to place the IEDs, plan on where that placement would be, as well as then obviously use the vehicle to ram this crowd. But what that also tells me as well is, look, I'm former law enforcement. I think law enforcement is actually doing doing an excellent job here. But it seems to me that there may not have been explosive sweeps that were done of the French Quarter and of Bourbon Street in particular as a result of securing this area, because part of me does wonder if that explosive would have been picked up by either a dog or a device. Again, I can't say for certain if that occurred, but part of me does wonder. There's no question they are now looking for these individuals and combing through particularly that digital evidence.
And Peter, I want to ask you about how investigators handle the IEDs. I want to drill down a little bit so you can explain to us how this works, because it's my understanding that some were found and some may not be true IEDs. You know, what is the process like? It's obviously a very dangerous situation. We know that robots are used in some types of investigations with this. Talk us through how investigators work with IEDs.
Well, the most important thing is the safety of the public and, of course, safety of law enforcement. So what they'll do is they'll cordon off an area and they will use bomb squads, or the FBI and ATF both have special agent bomb technicians. They will render those devices safe, which sometimes means detonating them in place. And then what they'll do is they will look at those items, look at how they were manufactured, what components were involved, and they'll try to track down where those items that were used to make the ID were purchased in an effort to identify who helped manufacture these IEDs. But I mean, the most important thing, again, is public safety. And that's why sometimes these crime scenes take so long to process, is because it takes time for the bomb squad or for the special agent bomb technicians to go in there and render these devices safe, while at the same time trying to maintain as much of the physical evidence contained in these devices as possible. Because again, it's evidence. They want to be able to present it in court, especially if they identify additional co-conspirators. And then the other thing is they look at the signature of these devices to try to see if they're tied to potentially other devices or even devices that are found overseas, so they can see who is instructing these people on how to manufacture these devices. So it's
okay. So yeah, they found the guy. Found out who he was. Said he's a Army veteran. So that's all I know right now. So anybody else find anything else, who can keep us informed, right, from tomorrow or whatever when we get online. And then here go another one that you just mentioned. We'll deal with this. Okay.
Breaking news, folks. Breaking news. I'm going to lose the annoying voice, but hey. So word on the street is allegedly the Tesla Cybertruck that Aiden Ross gave Donald Trump caught fire outside the Trump Tower. Now, let's go ahead and just play this video. Is this somebody sending some kind of symbolic signal? Cybertruck catching on fire. What is this, the battery? Kind of weird, right? A little suspicious. A little suspicious, folks. Somebody sending a message. This comes at a time while on X, people are getting silenced of the lambs for going against Elon Mustard.
Yeah, anybody heard anything about that? What you think about it? It's like both of these events happen the same day, same time. You think they're sending a message out or what?
Shalom. I thought it was about 3 months ago that they did a recall. I thought it was 800,000 of the Tesla cars. That thing is in trouble anyhow. So I don't know if they're connected, but there's problems with all those vehicles and they got recalls on them.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of suspect though that it would blow up in front of Trump Towers. You know what I mean? And then with Elon Musk being in the administration with him and all that's going on, then this happened.
But they said the only fatality was whoever was in the truck. But It's possible, but they got problems with all those vehicles. Now, why it would happen the same day, but they got
Yeah,
problems with that. So, you know,
yeah, I heard that too. Yeah. Anybody else got anything on that? Okay. Let's deal with this right here. I thought this was real informative. Right here.
Donald Trump has a new target, the BRICS group of nations. It started off as a club of 4 developing nations, Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Over the years, 5 more countries joined. South Africa, Ethiopia, Iran, Egypt, and the UAE. So 9 members in total. The BRICS is often seen as an alternative to the G7, a sort of rival to the Western order, and Donald Trump doesn't like that. He's targeting a cornerstone of the BRICS agenda, de-dollarization. The idea is to reduce trade in US dollars and instead use local currencies, that is de-dollarization. Local currencies like the Indian rupee or the Russian ruble or the Chinese yuan. Donald Trump doesn't like that one bit. Listen to what he said on social media, and I'm quoting, "We require a commitment from these countries that they will neither create a new BRICS currency nor back any other currency to replace the mighty US dollar, or they will face 100% tariffs and should expect to say goodbye to selling into the wonderful US economy. They can find another sucker." A typical Trump threat. Adjectives plus high stakes plus Twitter post. But what's his plan here? Well, tariffs seem to be Trump's new favorite weapon, whether it's against Canada or against Mexico or against China, or now against the BRICS nations. Donald Trump says, promise to not abandon the US dollar. If not, he will impose a 100% tariff on BRICS goods. Suppose an Indian car is being imported into the US. The price of the car is $12,000. American importers will have to pay 100% of that as import duty. That means another $12,000. So the cost of that vehicle in America just doubled. That's how tariffs work.
All praise to our Heavenly Father, the Most High Yah, in the name of our Lord and Savior. Some of y'all say Jesus, some of y'all say Yahweh Shah, some of y'all say Yahusha. All right. De-dollarization. What does it mean, right? What is this? Right? See that? Federal Reserve note? Why do countries need this piece of paper? What it is. Just got print on it. Why do countries need this in order to trade, right? Why is Donald Trump now, saying, hey, you BRICS countries, y'all better not try to pull this on the dollar, right? Let me give you his quote. The idea that BRICS countries are trying to move away from the dollar while we stand by and watch is over. We require a commitment from these countries that they will neither create a new BRICS currency, so you better not be creating no new currency, nor back any other currency to replace the mighty US dollar, or they will face 100% tariffs. And should expect to say goodbye to selling into the wonderful US economy. So you're not going to be able to sell your goods here because we're going to make your goods so expensive that people are going to want to buy. They can go find another sucker. There is no chance that the BRICS will replace the US dollar in international trade, and any country that tries should wave goodbye to America. So you see, there's an international disagreement over who's going to use this to trade, right? Why do we need this? When you go to a store, right, and you want to go get well, now you can't even get one loaf of bread with one of these, right? So you may need 3 or 4 of these to go get you a loaf of bread. You go in there and you take this paper, the person will give you the loaf of bread and you can walk out, right? So you're basically trading a loaf of bread for 3 or 4 of these, depending on how much it costs in your area, right? Of these pieces of paper, right? You're trading paper for a real tangible good, right? Now, if one day you wake up and they tell you that this piece of paper no longer has value, you can't take this into a store and exchange it for a loaf of bread. Even if you say, oh, well, I got plenty of this in the bank, and then you get a bank run where everybody will go run in to pull out these out of the bank to say, hey, well, I got a lot of those in the bank, and I want all mine in cash. But they ain't even got it out here in cash. All the money that they loan out in the banks, they don't even have that cash in there to back it up. It's called fractional reserve banking, right? So the bottom line is they only have a percentage of the amount of cash in there to back up all the money that they've loaned. So if they don't have the money, and then they tell you that this is no longer, you know what I mean, this no longer have value, you lose everything overnight. You see? So when we start talking about de-dollarization, all it is that other countries are saying we are no longer using this to trade amongst ourselves. I'm China, I want to use my currency, the yuan. And I'll trade Russia between their rupee or rubles and China's yuan. We'll trade amongst ourselves, but we ain't using this. If the rest of the countries stop using these, the reason that this has value is that the rest of the countries had to come and get these in order for them to trade amongst each other. So if they don't have these, you see what I'm saying? They couldn't trade. So in order for them to trade amongst each other, they had to come to America. America is the middleman. So America gives them this, they give America goods, and America, you know what I'm saying, hands them these dollars, and now they can take these dollars and go trade amongst themselves. So this is what happened. The countries are saying, America, you take your dollar and get out of here. We're not doing that no more. If these countries no longer want to trade their goods for an American dollar, what happens? You're not getting all these goods for paper anymore, right? You're not going to have China sending all these made in China, all this stuff. All that stuff is not coming over here no more. So guess what? Your stores are going to start drying up. Now, the narrative that they're painting with all of this is Trump says, I'm going to put, tariffs on here or whatever. That's just a cover, right? Because just like the woman said, if a car costs $1,200, you say you put 100% whatever, all of a sudden that car is going to, instead of you paying $12,000 for it, you're going to be paying $24,000 for it, right? But see, this is their cover for inflation. When prices start to rise, it's because Trump put tariffs on everything. That's why everything is going up. It's because of him and these tariffs. No, it's because you are not getting as much of these goods coming in from other countries. What happens to your supply and demand? Okay, if I have 100 loaves of bread and I got 100 people, you see what I'm saying? I can all give them 1-to-1. But if I start having 100 people and only 10 loaves of bread, you see there's going to be a demand on those 10 loaves of bread, right? I can't just sell them 1 for 1. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have 10 people say, oh, I tell you what, I'll give you 20. I got 20, okay, well, I'll give you 30. I'll give you 40, right? So the value of those loaves of bread will start rising because the supply is low. So this is what they're covering with this story about him raising tariffs and all this type of stuff. So see, when they're not telling you something and when they're giving you whatever, see, this is a cover story for when we start getting rising inflation because you're not getting all those goods coming over here. It's because of Trump, and you're going to point at the puppet. You're not going to point at who's the one who's really behind this or the real reason of what's really going on, okay? Now, when you see these currency wars, right, this is what's happening. As you can see, he told the BRICS, y'all better not try to replace the US dollar. You do that, you're going to have problems. He said he's going to slap a tariff on them, but what happens is they find a reason to go in and say, I'm going to punch you upside your mouth if you do this. You see what I'm saying? And they're punching upside the mouth is sending the U.S. military to drop bombs and everything else. Now I want y'all to see this next video, and then we're going to break it down.
President John F. Kennedy, appear. Oh wait, it doesn't say Federal Reserve note. It says United States note. That means the U.S. government, which every country has the ability to do. Canada used to do it. Germany did it. A bunch of other places did it. And guess what? They got really good results. You know what they did? They managed to go ahead and keep any debt at a very reasonable and payable level. Now, this United States note, that's not at interest. It's not a private bank. And JFK was dead within 6 months of issuing this $5 note. We could solve the problems that we face right now. I've said over and over like a broken record. The head of the snake is the financial system. The reason why they hate people like Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, John F. Kennedy, and the last one, a man named Adolf Hitler. He outlawed usury. Jesus didn't like usury either. Now, the history tells us that we shouldn't entertain anything possibly good about this. I'll tell you what I know, I like, I respect. And usury that now translates to, I don't know what it is here in the Netherlands. In the UK, I think it's like 6-7 trillion pounds. In America, we've just hit 34 trillion. First off, even if we ventured to pay back the debt, there isn't enough money in circulation to even pay it back. So who are we in debt to? They want to say it's China. They want to say
the market appreciation of the euro, higher interest rates, and the ability to pay mainly European suppliers in euros is believed to have made hundreds of millions for the Iraqi oil for food program. UN officials insist that this benefits helps to pay for humanitarian aid, war reparations, and the cost of weapons inspectors. So you see, when Saddam all of a sudden said, hey, slow down, player. You know what I'm saying? I ain't using this dollar. I'm not using this to trade my oil. No, I'm gonna use euros. Now, what happened next? Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. You see what I'm saying? You know, he's doing all this type of stuff to his own people. You know, he's a tyrant. You know, he's trying to run in here and do all this to all these people. Next thing you know, buildings that get hit by a plane collapses if it's a demolition. And one building, World Trade Center number 7, didn't even get hit by a plane, and it collapsed from a fire. Now, I went to school for mining engineering. I understand buildings and structures. Buildings don't just collapse except you blow out the foundation for them to come down and collapse. You don't get hit at the top because the weight is still being buried by the bottom, right? In order for a building to come out, for the building to fall and collapse, you got to plant that stuff so that it blows out the infrastructure so that it comes down orderly. You see what I'm saying? So this mysteriously happens. Next thing you know, the United States goes over there, knuckles up Mr. Hussein, let's get this oil back traded in dollars. Allegedly.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger. On my orders, coalition forces have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war. These are the stages of what will be a broad and concerted campaign.
Now let's go look at Mr. Muammar Gaddafi. All right, next let's go to millenniumstate.com, okay? And we pick this up. Gold dinar, the real reason behind Gaddafi's murder, okay? The gold dinar, a groundbreaking initiative. In 2009, Colonel Gaddafi, then president of the African Union, suggested to the states of the African continent to switch to a new currency, independent of the American dollar.
Okay. Any comments so far? Anybody see a pattern?
Well, one of the things I want to say, I'm sorry. Somebody else going to talk?
No, go ahead, sir.
Oh, okay. No, I just want to say that, first of all, Donald Trump is blowing a lot of hot air. Okay, first of all, they're not number one anymore. They fell from that position already. BRICS already has that position. And from the looks of it, the way Trump is talking about Mexico and Canada and Greenland and Iceland and talking about, bringing them into the United States as part of the United States, I think he's shooting himself in the foot. These people they're already talking about beefing up their armies. And I think they're probably going to be looking to sign up with BRICS. So in the end, the only one that's getting hurt is this country. The people with the tariffs, they're going to have to pay that extra money. So he's not hurting anybody but us. And he's just talking a bunch of nonsense. Nobody's taking him serious anyway.
Shalom. Yes, sir. Brother Leonard, I think it was a week or so ago you had mentioned about when we used to have gold that backed up our currency, and I thought it was Richard Nixon that stopped that practice. I'm not sure. And also, sir,
that was him, Nixon.
Okay. And also, they was putting a ban on TikTok, and I thought Trump was one of the main ones, want the ban. Now I thought he had asked the Supreme Court to lift the ban until he get in office, and I think they rejected that. But he trying to get his hand on that money.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. So the title of this is, now we know who Trump is working for. So that's and you can see where war is coming because of, like I said, just like when even way back with Hitler went up against the American dollar. JFK did. All of them war ended up when it started. Gaddafi, and then now we see BRICS. So guess what's going to happen? War going to happen because of they making tremendous strides with bringing the dollar down. So they're gonna come. You can believe me. They setting the stage right now. But like a lot of people believe, we already at war. Okay. Play a little more of this.
And in the face of that, the international community rallied and said, we have to stop any potential atrocities inside of Libya, and provided a broad mandate to accomplish that specific task. As part of that international coalition, I authorized the United States military to work with our international partners to fulfill that mandate. Now, I also have stated that it is U.S. policy that Gaddafi needs to go.
Now, where are we at now? This is Russia. This is China, right? These are some people that can come on back then. You want to do that? You want to knuckle up? Okay, I got a few nukes that I can rock and fire back at you. So if you don't think that this stuff matters, it matters. If the United States allows the dollar to be replaced, guess what happens to our economy? Pew. If they go to fight for the dollar, guess what they can say? Russia bombed us. Russia the one put us in the dark. China bombed us. So now, if that they're really against each other?
No.
Or are they working with each other?
Tear everything up.
Because if we know from the Bible, the Luciferians want to bring in a one world government with a one world currency, in the which, like you just saw with the video, y'all are not going to be able to buy or sell. Say we all have this digital currency. This destruction of the dollar, it might be organic, United States versus Russia versus China and all them. It might be. But then again, it might be orchestrated to the point that they're all working together.
Albert Pike.
Because from this source, supposedly, the United States is already a part of BRICS. They just ain't telling people.
is Anthony Patch, and this is another edition of Pulse. We examine the geopolitical environment as well as the economic environment. And today I would like to discuss the U.S. membership in BRICS. This is something that is not widely known. It is not typically presented in the mainstream media, even the alternative. So I'd like to present that to you, how it is that the U.S. is already a member of BRICS. This really is specific to the technology that has been fully developed, fully tested, and the proof of concept has been proven between the United States, European countries, and most notably, all of the countries, not just those that are presently in BRICS, but those that are seeking BRICS membership as well, which ultimately will entail all countries globally. All countries will be members of BRICS.
All right, so y'all see. I know. Wait a minute, Bro Tim, wait a minute now. For some of y'all that want to see that video in its entirety, you can go ahead and watch the video here. But for the rest of you, oh, well, I'm not what you, sir, are a conspiracy theorist. That's what you are. Cuckoo. Am I a conspiracy theorist? Or do I believe in the Bible? Do I believe in the Word of God? See? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I wasn't going to bring the obvious into this, you know what I'm saying? About how these people orchestrate, you know what I'm saying? These wars and everything else, right? At the end of World War I, 1917, what you had, was the Balfour Declaration, okay? This is the end of World War I, in which it reads, Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet. His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people.
Check out his work.
And will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object. If being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country. I should be grateful if you would bring this declaration to the knowledge of the Zionist Federation. Okay, and this is Walter Balfour. Okay, I think it's Walter Balfour, but anyway. All right, but anyway, Sir Louis Balfour, whatever his name was. But this is known as the Balfour Agreement. You see, at the end of 1917, Hitler has not even come into power. They were already talking about getting the Jewish people to go back to Palestine, a land that was inhabited by Palestinians, right? But Britain, you know what I'm saying, was in control of Palestine at that moment. And what they wanted to do is get Britain to support the Jewish people going down to Palestine. So how do you get them to go to Palestine? Why would people want to leave and go back to Palestine? You see?
So check it out. Back then, the Jews they had money. They was in Germany. They had big money. They were saying, we don't want to go to no Israel. We want to stay right here. Look what the African Americans saying. They're saying the same thing. So they got to come up with a way to get them gone. Watch this.
See what I'm saying? What if the Jewish people don't want to go?
Check it out.
Enter in
Hitler.
The next level of the cuckoo conspiracy theory that involves Adolf Hitler. Let me show you. All right, so this comes from wintersonnenwende.com. WINTERSONNENWENDE.com, C-O-M, okay? Y'all can look this up. Just type in Jewish Declaration of War on Nazi Germany, okay? So remember, you see from this, the Jewish people worldwide declared war on Germany before Germany had ever done anything to them people. Okay? This is the economic boycott of 1933. Article from the Barnes Review, January, February 2001. Okay, page 41 to 45. Okay, so now let's go and look at this. Long before the Hitler government began restricting the rights of the German Jews, the leader of the worldwide Jewish community formally declared war on the new Germany at a time when the US government and even the Jewish leaders in Germany were urging caution in dealing with the new Hitler regime. But remember, the Balfour Declaration, they had already promised to get these Jewish people to go back to Palestine, all right? So now what you see here is from the article, okay? And it says, you see, this is the actual newspaper, okay? Few people know the facts about the singular event that helped spark what ultimately became known as World War II, right? Remember, at the end of World War I, they made this Balfour Agreement to get the Jewish people to go to Palestine. This is how World War II started, in which the Jewish people after World War II went to Palestine. Okay.
Right. So you see what happened, right? They used Hitler. They brought Hitler on the scene and ran them over there. They was comfortable where they at. Look where the Negroes at right now. They don't want us in no more. Look what's coming. 2025. Ain't nothing new in the sun. They see all the calls for reparations. They don't want to pay the reparations. That's the purpose of letting all these Mexicans over here. So that's what's coming. They are playing to get us the hell out of here, run us out of here. And then I just showed you over and over again, but they keep on telling you that by the time we get to 2030, 2035, and now 80, 90% of the world gonna be in Africa. Cause right here, but they are playing. That's what 2025 all about. Run us the hell up out of here. Okay. So you want to watch that video? It's the guy got a bunch of good videos. It's now we know who Trump is working for. So he's just a a pawn, just like Hitler was, just like Obama, all the rest of them. Like I say, their objective is to rule the world for 1,000 years. And the guy just showed you that America part of BRICS. America is part of BRICS. Any comments?
Yeah, I just want to say that the scripture does say that they're all conspiring against Jacob, just to what that brother was saying, that it could also be that they're all conspiring and that it's not, any other way that we might imagine. Because the scripture clearly says that they are all conspiring against Jacob. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, right, exactly. It's Esau, but Esau, if you go to Psalms 83, you're going to see all the nations that came together that was conspiring against Israel. Esau was the number one, was the lead, the so-called Jew.
Exactly.
So he wants to rule the world. Like I said, he got an agenda to rule the world from Israel for 1,000 years. That's what we look at. That's what we look at them trying to play out. And at the same time, all they doing is fulfilling prophecy. Okay. Anybody else have any comments on that? So yeah, like I said, you want to watch that. It's now we know who Trump is working for. Somebody had something?
Shalom. If you look at the saying that the elephant's in the room, every time there's an election or selection, those two that compete, you see them the day after or 2 or 3 weeks after together. They would bring up so much history about their past, call them so many names, but then when you look, and the media even show you when Obama and Bush was out of office, they were at baseball games together, dinners together, so
Right.
they do sleep together behind the scenes, but when they're public, supposedly with the election, then they're against odds. So what the brother was saying, I do agree. Shalom.
Right. Yeah, it's like I had said before. Wendy's and Burger King. I mean, Wendy's and KFC, same owner. So you get into it with the people over at KFC, and you say you don't want to deal with them no more. I'm gonna start going to Wendy's. Well, the same person that own Wendy's own KFC. So that's how this is. They got everybody thinking that the Democrats and at odds with the Republicans, but they all working together. For like I said, the Zionists. It says the horde is controlling the beast. So these people that say they're Jews and are not, they controlling America, the beast. Okay, so they all working together for a wicked ass end. Any comments? Okay, I'll open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments about anything they want to talk about? Ready? Okay. I'm gonna play this video. Like I said, then I'll go into a topic which is exposing the God of the Israelites, right? So this also is pretty good. Got a lot of information in it. This they're connecting the Christianity, which is this a whole nother level of thinking. They connecting Christianity with the four beasts. Okay.
Represent the major powers of the end times. In this session, we will see if there is a connection between Christianity and the fourth beast. Daniel wondered about the last beast more than the others, and now we know why. The last beast in his vision represented Rome, and it was the worst of them all. We're still reeling from the crushing blows and the residual effects of the Roman Empire. It passed down to modern religious and political systems. But what comes after the fourth beast? Judgment. The nations that abused, enslaved, and oppressed the chosen people will be judged. And many of their oppressors were Christians. Obviously, there must be a connection between Christianity and the fourth beast. So we need to understand some things. Let's look at this from beyond today. It's entitled Lessons from the Prophet Daniel. It says the fourth beast of Daniel's vision is the Roman Empire at its height. Why did Daniel puzzle over this one beast above all the others? The answer lies in understanding the impact of Rome upon the ancient world and the political and religious seeds sown since that time upon Europe and the nations. The impact of the Roman Empire on history and Bible prophecy is the story of the modern world. Understanding this fourth beast is a key to understanding today's headlines. We know that that beast wanted to destroy everything pertaining to the knowledge of Yah, his kingdom, and his people. It even dared to speak great words against the Most High. Based on the interpretation that was given to Daniel, we're told that that beast would wear out the saints, and they would be given into his hand for a time. It would seek to change times and laws, and we certainly saw the fulfillment of these things during the reign of the Roman Empire, to include heliocentrism, the idea that the sun is at the center of the cosmos.
Check it out.
And guess who sanctioned it?
none other than the Roman Catholic Church. We're going to look at this from cosmology history. It says, it is no secret that the Roman Catholic Church helped Nicholas Copernicus publish his 1543 book on heliocentrism. He states so himself within the first pages of the book. In the same introduction, he also makes a plea to the Pope, asking for his protection from those who would no doubt challenge his views using the Bible. So this is his quote. And in order that the unlearned as well as the learned might see that I was not seeking to flee from the judgment of any man, I preferred to dedicate these results of my nocturnal study to your holiness, the Pope, rather than to anyone else, because even in this remote corner of the earth where I live, you are held to be most eminent both in the dignity of your order and in your love of letters and even of mathematics. Hence, by the authority of your judgment, you can easily provide a guard against the bites of slanderers. But if perchance there are certain idle talkers who take it upon themselves to pronounce judgment, although wholly ignorant of mathematics, and if by shamelessly distorting the sense of some passage in Holy Writ, and he's talking about the Bible, to suit their purpose, they dare to reprehend and to attack my work. They worry me so little that I shall even scorn their judgments as foolhardy. For it is not unknown that Lactantius, otherwise a distinguished writer, but hardly a mathematician, speaks in an utterly childish fashion concerning the shape of the earth, when he laughs at those who have affirmed that the earth has the form of a globe. And so the studious need not be surprised if people like that laugh at us. Mathematics is written for mathematicians, and among them, if I am not mistaken, my labors will be seen to contribute something to the ecclesiastical commonwealth. He's attributing to the ecclesiastical commonwealth, he says, the principate of which your holiness now holds. And he signs it Copernicus. Continuing, it says he, and it's talking about Copernicus, dedicated the book to Pope Paul III, telling the Pope that it was good to follow the example of the Pythagoreans and certain others who used to transmit philosophy's secrets only to kinsmen and friends, not in writing, but by word of mouth, as is shown by Lysis' letter to Hipparchus. So, yes, the Roman Catholic Church sanctioned heliocentrism. For them,
so you see what that means, right? That means that that idea right there, go back to them 18 years that we've been brainwashed, that the sun, everything else, all those planets is revolving around the sun, came from these nut buckets. And we believe in it. And notice something else he said, that the Pythagoreans, they have knowledge that nobody else have. They don't write it down. They pass it by word of mouth. So when I hear that, the first thing I think about is the Talmud, right? So what is the Talmud? They said that when Moses was on Mount Sinai, that when the Lord of Hosts gave him the Ten Commandments, he also gave him a whole bunch of other stuff by word of mouth. It wasn't written down. That's the way they cut. They brought it into our scriptures by saying that it was passed on by word of mouth. Now we know where that's coming from. And so you say, what are you talking about? Well, ain't that what Samuel told Adam on top of the cave that when he was asleep, while he was asleep, when the Lord put you to sleep and took the rib out, he brought me out too. So it's no different than we know who the author is, because he's saying the same thing right here. While when they was up on the mountain, Moses up on the mountain, nobody else was there. But when Moses was up on the mountain, it was an oral tradition went on too. It was knowledge vocally passed down, wasn't written down. That's how these people operate. Okay, we play a little more of this.
The sun is at the center of a system that includes the earth
and
other planets, which revolve around it. It was all about sun worship. The Catholic Church also changed the Sabbath to Sunday and began introducing holidays like Easter
That's why
and
JC got sun behind him
to honor their solar deities. Now, this idea that began as a theory soon became fact, much like the theory about evolution. This information comes from Society of Catholic Scientists. 2 questions are being asked. Does the Catholic Church accept evolution? And did the Catholic Church ever condemn evolution in the past? The answer to the first question, the Catholic Church has repeatedly made clear that biological evolution is compatible with Christian belief. For example, Pope Benedict XVI said in a 2007 speech, evolution and belief in a creator are presented by some people as alternatives that exclude each other. This clash is an absurdity. There is much scientific proof in favor of evolution, which you really need to know that this ancient religion has been verified. So he talks about the authority of the scriptures and how the most learned men obtained a copy of the holy books. Now, interestingly, there would be those who would come later and make it seem like the Old Testament was irrelevant. But here we see Tertullian using it as the foundation so that the elites would.
So this is one of those church fathers. This is where it gets embarrassing at. Tertullian is one of the church fathers in the scriptures, in the New Testament. Okay.
Be more accepting of Christianity. Folks, we're looking at the deception of the fourth beast. He goes on to say, is not the accomplishment of a prophecy a testimony to its truth? Seeing that events which are past have vindicated these prophecies, shall we be blamed for trusting them in events that are to come? Pause and think on that. So they knew that the fulfillment of prophecies validate the truths in the book. Is that why folks like Marcion later told Christians not to read the Old Testament? Remember, we're talking about the worst of the heathens here. He says, now as we believe things that have been prophesied and have come to pass, so we believe things that have been told us, but not yet come to pass, because they have all been foretold by the same scriptures, as well as those that are verified every day, as those that are still, or those that still remain to be fulfilled. So Tertullian goes on, and he's going to say here, these holy scriptures teach us that there is one God who made the world out of nothing, who though seen daily is invisible. His infiniteness is known only to himself.
Yeah, that's all that right there we listening to is what we put in our head. That's what we believe. 99% of the people, that's what they believe, because this is what they put in their head. Like I said, this guy Tertullian and a lot of other ones. That's who wrote everything you listen to JC said and read. These nut buckets wrote it. JC a figment of their imagination. They wrote it. They got you believing in JC, but everything you see and read, they concocted it. The church fathers. Okay.
He says, his immensity conceals, but at the same time discovers him. He has ordained for men, according to their lives, rewards and punishments. He will raise all the dead that have ever lived from the creation of the world, will command them to reassume their bodies, and thereupon adjudge them to felicity that has so in or to eternal flames. I'll drop down. He says, the prophets of those old times were Israelites. They addressed their oracles, for such they were, to the Israelites who had stored them up in the scriptures. Now, I should also add that Tertullian did defend the use of the Old Testament against Marcion. But why? In order to claim the blessings that belonged to Israel. That was it. They didn't want to have anything to do with the law, and they certainly didn't believe that they inherited any of the curses. Let's go on. Now, it says, before he closes his defense, Tertullian renews an assertion which, carried into practice, as it subsequently was, affected the intellectual development of all Europe. Listen to what he says. He declares that the Holy Scriptures are a treasure from which all the true wisdom in the world has been drawn, that every philosopher and every poet is indebted to them. He labors to show that they are the standard. I hope you're getting this. He's saying the Holy Scriptures are the standard and measure of all truth. But listen to this. And that whatever is inconsistent with them must necessarily be false. Just pause and think on that. Whatever is inconsistent with them is false. How then did we end up with Sunday as the Sabbath and a doctrine that says the law was done away with? How did we end up with a religion that condones evolution? By their own admission, their religion is false because it is inconsistent with the Holy Scriptures. It's a false religion. So it says, from Tertullian's able work, we see what Christianity was while it was suffering persecution and struggling for existence.
Here we go.
We have now to see what it became when in possession of imperial power.
Here we go.
Great is the difference between Christianity under Severus and Christianity after Constantine. Many of the doctrines which at the latter period were preeminent in the former were unknown.
Ain't that something? Say the mouthful. Any comments on that? That's the title of that video is there a connection between Christianity and the four beasts? You want to go and check it out. Okay. Anybody got any comments on that?
Shalom. When she talk about the Roman Catholics, and you can really correlate them to the Greeks, high power, empowerment, authority, and then you can really include them in the the spirits of sexual desires and the all of that negativity there that goes with the power and control those spirits. They want to denounce certain things so that they can stay in charge as they are now. They want to hide a lot of things so they can continually be in charge. Again, the prophecy of what is to come. They'll see all of these high, like Pharaoh that was up so high, will be brought down. Shalom.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, everybody good? So yeah, I'm going to go into the topic, which is exposing the God of Israel, of the Israelites, right? And showing, giving you a comparison and contrast. And one of them is in Daniel 9, based on, I'm bouncing off what we just listened to. So you go to Daniel 9, right? And you'll see that, let's look at, so it says, it tells us in the New Testament that a new tester came, JC came, and now everything is revolved around him. When you pray, you got to pray to him and all that, right? So let's look at that. Like the lady just said, after Constantine changed, after Constantine came, that's when everything changed. He got hold to what these people had concocted, and then it blew up, Christianity. So check it out. So when you go to Daniel 9, and it says that we're supposed to pray to JC, right? But we in Daniel 9, it says, in the first year of Darius, the son of Aorus, of the seeds of the Medes and Persians, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans, says, verse 2, in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of years wherefore the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolation of Jerusalem, right? And my point is this, verse 3, and I set my face unto the Lord God to seek by prayer and by supplication with fasting, sackcloth, and ashes. So back here, our forefathers were dealing with the Lord of hosts. They were praying to the Lord of hosts. And we see what happened just off this little video we watched. And none of that's happening now. We got to doing something totally different. But right here, Daniel said, verse 3, I set my face unto the Lord God, the Lord of hosts, to seek by prayer and supplication with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. So it was a 180-degree turn. This how, like I was saying, that word pierced, that actually means to denigrate. So when you go to Daniel, when we see yesterday, when he says in Zechariah 12 and 10, they're going to look upon me whom they pierced, whom they denigrated, cast him down. When they put JC up, they put him, JC, everywhere where he was at and cast him down to the ground. And this example right here. Daniel praying to the Lord of hosts. He ain't praying no JC. He don't even know no JC. Okay? So then we go to, I talked about this before, divorce of the Lord, right? I'm in Deuteronomy. And like I said, you would think that this would register, but when you see the job that they've done on us, these things they have to be proclaimed to you, to a person, or shown to them. So Deuteronomy 30, I mean, right? Okay, I'm in Deuteronomy 30, and I'm reading, I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, the conditions for restoration and blessings, right? And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curses, which I shall set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whether the Lord thy God have driven thee. See that? So it's the Lord thy God that have driven thee to, and shall return unto the Lord. See that? They're going to return. Same entity that Daniel praying to right here, verse 2. And I shall return unto the Lord, not Jehoshaphat. They shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee. See that? They tell us in Revelation, JC coming and gather us, right? But right here, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whether the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. And if any of thine be driven out into the utmost parts of the heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And the Lord thy God will circumcise thy heart. Yeah, not JC. The Lord thy God will circumcise thy heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. Then here go another one, verse 7. And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thy enemies. That's what we're looking at. He's talking about the bird flu. The highs on these herds and cattle over here, not over in Africa, over here. Okay, so it says, and on them that hate thee and which persecute thee, and thou shalt return. Now here you go. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord, and do all his commandments which I command thee this day. And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand, and in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of thy land, for good, right? For the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good, and rejoice over thee for thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in his book of the law, and if thou turn unto the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. So you say, what are you talking about? Well, I noticed 4 times in this chapter, he says, return to the Lord thy God, and return to his voice, right? So I go to this verse all the time. Like I say, it's nowhere in here, JC in here, nowhere. So it says, Exodus 23 and 20, right? The Lord Yahweh tells Moses on Mount Sinai, behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, obey his voice. And like I said before, we see just in Deuteronomy 32, 4 times he said, obey his voice. And with precept upon precept, you see right here whose voice it is they was commanded to obey. It's the Lord host, not JC. That changes when the Greeks and the Romans and these Edomites got hotel records and they concocted JC. That's when it changed. But right here we see who they commanded to deal with, who they commanded to listen to and obey. It wasn't JC. So one more. I'm gonna go to Leviticus, and you can see who it is talking, right? Because this is important. You go to Leviticus, right? Chapter 26, right? Look at it. Like I said, this simple. You know what I'm saying? It's not something major that you got to decipher. It's simple, right? So we in 26, and I'm gonna start at 32, 38. Let me see. Yeah, I'll read 38. It says, verse 38, and ye shall perish among the heathen. So if you know anything about the Tanak, the curses in Deuteronomy 28, The same curses is in Leviticus 26, right? So it says right here, 38, and ye shall perish among the heathen. So it's the Lord talking, Lord of hosts. Ye shall perish among the heathen, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up. And they that are left of you shall pain away in their iniquity, sin. See that? This is why they're so important. They shall pain away in their iniquity, sin, in your enemies' lands, and also in the sins of their fathers shall they pain away with them. If they shall confess their iniquity, sin, and the sin of their fathers with their trespasses, which they have trespassed against me, Lord of hosts, right? And that also they have walked contrary unto me, and that I also have walked contrary unto them, and I have brought them into the land of their enemies. If then their uncircumcised hearts be humble, and they accept of the punishment of their sin, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land. And the land also shall be left for them, and shall enjoy her Sabbath while she lieth desolate without them, and they shall accept the punishment of their iniquity, because they despise my judgments, and because their souls abhorred my statutes. And yet, for all that, when they be in the land of their enemies, check it out. And yet, after all that, when they be in the land of their enemies, I will not, it's the Lord of hosts, not JC, I will not cast them away, neither will I abhor them, to destroy them utterly and to break my covenant. See that? And to break my covenant with them. For I am the Lord their God. See that? So you say, what you talking about? He says, for and to break my covenant with them. So, like I said before, this ain't hard. Go to Judges chapter 2. It says, the angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Beckham and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt. I brought you into the land which I swore unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant. So we see who had a covenant. The angel of the Lord of hosts, he has a covenant with them. And he's talking right here. So it ain't no room for no JC. I read Leviticus 26 and 44 again. And yet, for all that, when they be in the land of their enemies, I will not cast, it's the Lord of hosts, the angel of the Lord, I will not cast them away, neither will I abhor them to destroy them utterly, to break my covenant with them, for I am the Lord their God. So where JC at? Okay, but I will for their sake remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought forth out of Egypt. I just read that. In the sight of the heathen, that I might be their God. I am the Lord. See that? How you get JC out of that? These are the statutes and the judgments and the laws which the Lord, see that, made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hands of Moses. There go your self-serving right there. 46. These are the statutes, the judgments, and the laws which the Lord, right, made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses. No, ain't no room in there for no Yahweh shot. Okay. So, anybody have any comments or questions before we go? Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. I see y'all. We have the women's line tomorrow, so see y'all tomorrow. I let everybody know that we got that Zoom tomorrow after the women's line at 9 o'clock about the African conversation. Okay.
Shalom.
Shalom.
9 o'clock.